Howdy howdy folks, it's Quinny back at you with another video, and I hope you're having a good day because I sure am. So this video is going to be about one of my ex-boyfriends. His name is Alexander. Is something I wanted to breeze up upon because it my relationship with him was kind of important actually. Like it was a super it was a roller coaster of emotions because it was my first real relationship, and it taught me a lot about how to handle relationships. And don't get me wrong, our relationship was nowhere near a normal relationship, but when we dated, I gotta admit it was fun, even though he went down an avenue that I very much am not gonna follow him on. Like, let's just say that he is somewhat still of an important person, at least to me anyway. But yeah, let's get right into this. So let's start with when I first saw him. Not when I first met him or interacted with him, but when I first saw him. So it was me, Gladys, and Demonte. We were in the southwest part of Vermilion City, where it's pretty much like a ghost town. It wasn't really that violent. There wasn't really anybody out. And there was a ton of cars that were lined up on the streets. You know, we were doing our usual B&Es on those cars. Well, after we were done on that corner and we were going to the next street, we noticed a bunch of other folks that were down on the sidewalk. There was about 4 or 5 of them. One of them was a light-skinned hedgehog. He had green hair, and he had tattoos and piercings all on his face. And I noticed that this guy was doing something. I think they were, I don't know really what they were doing, but they were pretty much, let's just say they were doing, I guess they were fighting or something, or doing some kind of initiation. But anyway, I remember that I saw him pretty much brawling with a bunch of other people. This shit was kind of sick, if you ask me, because number one, he was beating the shit out of pretty much everybody that was coming at him, and he did it effortlessly. The man knew how to fight, and we stood a clear, a safe distance so they wouldn't see us, but we noticed that they were just hamming it up over there. And Alexander was just beating the hell out of everybody in that whole vicinity. Pretty much after we saw that and after he was done, we pretty much left because we didn't know what was going on, and we didn't know how they would act if they saw us. So after that, we just left. I honest to God just wanted to walk up to him so badly and talk to him, but I wasn't gonna reveal myself like that, at least right away anyway. So we just went about our business. But after that, I saw he could fight, and that, let's just say, that was a turn on for me. It was a really big turn on for me. Well, a couple of days passed after I saw him for the first time, and me and Gladys decided to go to the mall, go to the Vermilion City Mall, where we just started shopping, looking around, just doing whatever. We didn't really want to go out and do any heinous shit that day, so we pretty much just decided to just go out and relax. I remember we went into a store, looked around, didn't really notice or take anything really, or just buy anything, I guess. And then, like, it was across from the food court. I remember actually seeing him again. I remember seeing Alexander again, and he was just, I guess, sitting. I guess he was just leaning on one of the pillars where the in the food court, and he was smoking a cigarette. Like, Gladys looked at him too, and she was like, "Yo, isn't that the guy that we saw kick those other guys' asses the other day?" I said, "Yeah, it is him." So she literally looked at me and was like, "Yo, you should go talk to him, because I mean, I saw how you were looking at him, and you look like you were into him." And then I looked back and forward, and then just back at her, and I'm like, "You think I should?" And she's like, "Yeah, you should definitely do it, because who knows, he might be into you too." Well, a lot of people don't know is echidnas aren't really seen as, like, I guess you could say they aren't really seen as, like, equal to the other Mobians. I mean, there are a lot of groups like that, but like, there are a lot of other groups that where, like, it's a lot of prejudice. It's a lot of prejudice in Vermilion City when it comes to, different species and stuff. But like, it's one of those things where hedgehogs is, are portrayed as dominant, while every other species is just a minority. But anyway, but anyway, she literally wanted me to go talk to him, and I was like, you know what? Fine, whatever. I'll go talk to him. So I approached him. I mean, this was back when I had this was back when I had half of my head shaved, and I was in my like the ugliest. I wouldn't say I'm ugly, but in the weirdest way possible. Like, in my in my weirdest best, I guess you could say that. And I approached him. I didn't know if he was there with other people. I didn't see other people around him, so I assumed he was by himself. But anyway, I walked up to him. I was nervous. I approached him with a timid smile, and he looked at me when I was walking up to him, and he just said, "Can I help you?" And he had probably he had one of the most softest voices ever. I thought like I thought his voice was going to be like super deep or something, but nah, he had a soft voice. Like, it made my heart melt. And I replied saying, "Yeah, you could help me by telling me your name." He looked at me crazy, and he also replied with, "Sis, like, why do you want to know who I am?" And I'm just like, "Because I just came out to say it because I think you're hot." He looked me up and down, and he told me that his name was Alexander. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, you should definitely tell me your name, because if I told you mine, it would be rude if you didn't tell me yours." And I told him my name. I told him my name was Quinzel, and he he called my name cute, which made me blush a little bit. Like, it was really, really, like, it was like I said, my heart was melting, because this guy like noticed me, and I don't know, like, words cannot describe how I felt in that moment. But anyway, we after that we had a short conversation, and then the conversation ended with him giving me his number. So I very much went home a winner that day, seeing that I had a cute guy's number, and we were potentially gonna have ourselves a little bit of a little bit of a friendship, or maybe even more. Well, after that day, I met him at the mall and got his number. We would text back and forth. We would have a ton of like conversations and discussions about like random stuff that went on in our neighborhoods and stuff. We sent photos back and forth. We had we just like yapped for like the next couple of days, and then after that, we basically set up a first date. Now, we met up at the same Southwest Vermilion City street corner that I first saw him at. And the thing about this date, right? It wasn't a normal date. Our first date, we actually fought each other. Like, we basically fought each other, and we basically fought each other because, according to him, he didn't want to date a little bitch boy. He wanted to date someone that could hold their own. And I was like, you know what? I second that. So we basically duked it out. There wasn't really a winner or a loser. We pretty much like tired each other out, and it became more of a stalemate. And then after we fought, we kissed. Uh, we went over to his place, and well, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could. I'm pretty sure you can like honestly, you know, you can figure out what happened next. But anyway, after that, we would go on other dates. We weren't fighting anymore because I already proved to myself that I could date him and I could hold my own. So our dates weren't like normal dates, like going to the movies or going out to eat. Just staying home and cuddling and kissing each other. I mean, we had those type of dates too, but the majority of the dates that we had were us basically causing a crime wave across the city. Our crime waves included robberies, whether we were robbing individual people or we were robbing, businesses or banks. We would go out and we would break and enter into people's cars or break into their houses and steal shit. Or we would go out and fight. We would go out and challenge gang members or tough guys to fights, and we would just beat the ever loving shit out of them. And it was just a wild time to be alive, especially for us. And like our fights, like our fights were huge too, and that's the crazy thing about it. Like I also remember, and this is probably one of my favorite dates that me and him went through to this day. We ran from the police. Like we ran from the police, and we didn't even get caught. We actually escaped the cops. And after that, we made it a game to like sneak back to my place because his place was way too far out there, and my place was the closest. So yeah, we went back. We basically snuck back successfully into my apartment, and yeah, we got intimate. It that was probably the best. Like that was probably the best sex I ever had. I'm just being honest here. Like like me and him just like had so much fun when we used to go on our dates, and it was just like I like I said, it was just a wild time for me at the time, but it was so much fun. I remember that one of those nights where we had an actual normal date where we just like where I went over to his place and I just relaxed over there and we were watching movies and stuff. I remember he actually told me about his past. So he is the son of a mafia boss. His name is Bruno Madrano. He is a Obviously he is a family member of the Madrano family, which were a they were a former like mafia style criminal family that basically ruled over Vermilion and Rias. And their enemies were the Monroe family, which is another family that I don't really know too much about, but I did hear that they were at war for the longest time. 10 years to be exact. But anyway, he told me that his dad would treat him like garbage. And his dad would make him do a lot of risky stuff even at a young age, even like at the age of 10, 11, 12, but before he even turned 13. And he also has a younger sister, younger twin sister named Alexis. Basically, she was brought up like a princess. She never really did any work in the streets. She never put in any work for the family. She just was basically raised like a princess and was kept away from all of that. And like he really got emotional because he it made they made him feel like he was just nothing but a guinea pig for the family. And if he died in any of the jobs that his dad or the family made him do, they wouldn't care because they would only care about Alexis. So what happened was what set him over the most was that his dad, basically before his dad died, because Bruno Madrano is dead, he was, but anyway, his dad was only going to leave him 20% of the family's fortune while Alexis got 80 of it. That pretty much set him over the edge. After that, he just said he was cutting ties with the Madrano family and he would pretty much just put in work in the streets. What he did, he never really told me. But after he put in like he started his own crew. He had a couple of guys. They would become small time snow dealers and they would just push their product throughout the streets. They wouldn't make a ton of money, but they would make a decent amount of money to get by, to make a living. And like fun fact, the thing that they were doing before while we were looking at them was that he was practicing, I guess you could say, his martial arts because like I said, he can fight and he is a martial artist himself. And a lot of the people around him were some of his friends that he would spar with. So either way, like his family is pretty weird. I actually did meet Alexis, and she is not as, she's honestly not as bad as how Alexander made her out to be. Like, she's a really cool fucking person. Like, I met her before, and like, I've talked to her before. I even did some jobs for her, and she's cool as shit. Like, she even paid me good money. This is like before I like started working for Kiniko and Demi, and she actually has an alliance with my dad and my uncle, which I'm gonna probably touch on in another video where I talk about the Vermilion Alliance. But other than that, yeah, that was pretty much Alexander's whole childhood summed up. So after 4 years of a beautiful relationship where we didn't really have any problems, like there was the occasional argument, the occasional fight, but other than that, we never really went through it with each other like that. And then shit started to get really weird. I mean, weirder than normal with him. Long story short, he started getting to occultism. Like, he started reading into cults. More specifically, he started getting into stalker cults. I did explain, like, in my video about Lydia, about the stalkers and how they're pretty much just bloodlusted Mobians that just go around at night, hunting people down and fatalitying them for no reason to just feed their bloodlust. It was basically the most notorious stalker. He started following the most notorious stalker in this region. His name was Denario. He basically started his own little family of stalkers that pretty much were just serial killers. Even like they were pretty much just serial killers at that point. But anyway, like, he started to act like them. Like, he would like dress up in rags and a mask, and he would start like hunting down people and basically fatalitying them like in the streets. And that shit weirded the fuck out of me. Like I'm normally really fearless and could handle anything, but like this was just crazy behavior from him. And I don't know why he would like end up getting into these like I don't know why he would end up getting into that type of shit. And I always asked him about it, and he just never told me why. I don't understand. Like I remember like he came home one night. This was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and he was drenched in blood, basically from having his from him larping as a stalker. He was larping as a stalker at this point in time, and he would try and get intimate with me while he was covered in blood, and I told him, "Fuck no. You either get in the fucking shower, or I'm not touching you, because I'm not doing all of that." And after that, like, long story short, he just started becoming more distant with me after he started getting into all that weird cult shit. Like, he even started to like he even cheated on me. Like, he even started to like cheat on me with people behind my back. Like, I remember there was this one girl that he was basically seeing, and he had a fling with, and she was also a follower of that cult. I don't know if they were dating behind my back. I don't know what happened, but like I remember just being angry about it when I found out about him cheating on me. I basically felt into a deep depression, and I felt like I was just a fucking joke to him. Like, we dated consistently. We were together for 4 years. For 4 years we were consistent with each other. And then after you got into this cult nonsense, you started cheating on me with another cultist, and then you expect to come home and just like for me to just not care. Like, I said, no, fuck that. And then after a while of that, we basically decided to say fuck it and just call it out. Just call it an L. We broke up. I took it extremely fucking hard because, number one, that was like my first relationship. So also that was my first heartbreak. Like, me and him were extremely close. And the fact that he would just dump me because he was a fake psycho, it really got to me. It made me feel ugly. It made me feel like a loser. And obviously I did get over it and just, went on with my life. But like, I really did love him. Like, it felt like he was a part of me. And when I lost him, it felt like I lost a part of me. And it's just, it was just insane, you know? After we broke up, it was like maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe a little bit more, because this was around the time I was like doing dirt in the streets with Lydia. This was like around me and Lydia's time while we were doing whatever. And then, this was also before I formed the Harlots. He basically he basically joined the Demon Clan. I didn't find this out until like he walked up on me one time, and like he startled the fuck out of me. Like, he had a new look. He had blue hair, and like he just switched up his whole look. And then he would try to convince me to join the Demon Clan, which I just pretty much denied, like, immediately, because the Demon Clan is something just on a whole nother level. Like, they are pretty much, I wouldn't even consider them a criminal organization. They're fucking terrorists, okay? Like, they are menaces and he decided to join them. And then after that meeting, the next time I met him, he was literally the second in command. And I'm just sitting there like, he raised, he went all the way from just being a worker for the Demon Clan all the way to a fucking co-leader, which I don't know what he had to do in order to get that, but like, knowing Alexander, I know for a fact that he had to probably do some heinous shit in order to get to where he was. Also, like, he would also keep trying to convince me to join. Even when I formed the Harlots, he tried to convince me to join. He even asked Lydia to join. And we all just said no. We're not doing it. Even afterwards, like, of him going into the Demon Clan, me and him sometimes had like me and him sometime had casual hookups. Let's just say we had, like I said, we had casual hookups because this was around the time where I was extremely lonely, didn't really have a relationship, and I was pretty much just like, I guess you could say I was pent up. So sometimes me and him would link for old time's sake to, we'd hunch on each other pretty much. And I mean, hey, I at that like I said, at that point in time I was getting no action in the bedroom, so I pretty much took what I could get. I pretty much took whatever I could get. Because what am I gonna do? You think I'm gonna do anything with Lydia? Fuck no. But anyway, that's besides the point. Nowadays he's just a very just scary co-leader of the Demon Clan. And fun fact, I said this also in another video, that I said this in the Harlots video, that he had a short relationship with Willow, who is a member of the Harlots. Now, like, she's a member of the Harlots now, and they they had their little thing before she got kicked out. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Like, like, me and him still see each other from time to time. I don't really hook up with him anymore since I started dating Apollo, and like, he's just been shadowing me for like the past, I want to say 7, 8 years. And I mean, it's gonna continue to be like that. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Now you have an idea of how my love life is. I mean, I'm definitely gonna make a video on Apollo, my current boyfriend, and I'm going to make sure that that video is of me doing nothing but just hugging and kissing on him. All like, just that's all I'm pretty gonna much gonna do because he's literally perfect. But anyway, that's all. I hope you guys have a good day, and as always, stay pretty, my harlots.